What's up, Closing Nation? We're back again with the Whiteboard Wednesday right here, right now. And today, I'm going to talk to you about how in the last 12 months, because it's almost in December, just the last 12 months alone, I've made over $500,000 organically from one specific Facebook group. So if you'd like to learn how you can make $500,000 just from one Facebook, from starting one Facebook group, just one Facebook group, then that's what you need to stick around and watch. But before this, I need to talk to you about safety this time of year. Here's the thing, right? We get Amazon packages delivered to our doorstep every day. You ever get a package that says it was delivered and you get there and you're like, where'd it go? What happens is there's thieves out there. I know the news sometimes is correct, most of the time it's wrong, but there's sons of bitches out there that will steal from you. And here's the thing, here's how you catch them, right? You catch them, you embarrass them, and you put them on the internet with yourfreealarm.com. Go to yourfreealarm.com and you can sign up. And what we do is we give you the alarm for free, but you can also have cameras installed in your house. You can watch your front porch, your back porch. Hell, if my doorbell rings right now, I'll pick up my phone and talk to the person there. I tried to tell the mailman yesterday just to sign the shit himself. He had a piece of paper and he was like, I need your signature. I'm like, my signature sucks. Just like put a couple of X's on there and just take it on back to the post office. He's like, all right, dog, I got you, right? All from the camera on the front porch. And here's the thing, you need to protect your assets because listen, you're going to be ordering gifts this time of year to your home. You're going to have people sending you gifts this time of year to your home. You're going to have gifts under your Christmas tree, your Hanukkah candle, or your Kwanzaa, whatever you use for that, right? Like you're going to have your thing. And isn't it amazing how all the religions, the one thing they agree on is that December's the month. Anyway, so here's the thing, like you're going to have shit in your house for the holidays and everything else. You want to be safe, especially when you have extra family members over, because you never know. Because here's the thing, I've been on the bad side of the law. And if my family today was starving and I was still living the life that I did 20 years ago, a door wouldn't come between me and getting my kids presents. A door wouldn't come between me and feeding my family. So you need to make sure that you have an alarm set up, camera set up to where you can remain safe, not just now, but for any time in the future. You can get all that for free, thanks to Whiteboard Wednesday, at yourfreealarm.com. Go over there, you get the whole alarm set up, and then you can additionally purchase at a discount the cameras and everything else. All right, so let's talk about how I made $500,000 in sales from a Facebook group and what were the exact steps that I do, what's my routine. I'm going to reveal it all to you right now. So listen, 3 years ago in December, I started a group on Facebook called Sales Talk with Sales Pros. Now you can go to salestalkgroup.com, and again, that's salestalkgroup.com. You can go over there to that URL, and then you can request to join the group. The group's about 65,000 people strong right now. We call them savages, and we'll talk a little bit about that. That's part of our culture. We'll talk about that as I get to training you here. The group I just started on a whim, but there were some things that I did just right that I've been studying all along the way. You see, this wasn't the first Facebook group that I started. I didn't just get up to bat and it just hit a home run. That's not what happened. I struck out several times. Maybe I hit a few base hits, finally got a double, but this one wasn't even the home run. Hell, I had to put in the work just to get around the bases too. Then I had to rely on the next guy to bunt to get me to second base. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a big baseball fan. Hopefully that made sense. So here's the deal. With the group, I made some good decisions along the way. See, in the beginning, the groups that I failed with, I named the Hardcore Closer group or, you know, the Ryan Stewman sales team group and like all these things that nobody really gave a shit and nobody still doesn't give a shit about Ryan Stewman or the Hardcore Closer. The reason why you watch this video, the reason why you go to hardcorecloser.com, the reason why you listen to the THC podcast or follow me on Instagram, Facebook, or any of that stuff is so that you can get content that helps you. It's not for my benefit. It's for your benefit. That's why you consume this content. Well, in the beginning, nobody gave a shit about Ryan Stewman, right? It's like nobody cared about the Ryan Stewman show or the Hardcore Closer show. Like that wasn't, or the group, that wasn't important, right? But then when I created Sales Talk with Sales Pros, I said, you know what, let's not make it about me. I know, let me sit my vanity to the side here and not make it about me, but instead let's make it about a community, right? And that's step one. We wanted to create a club. And actually, if you look on Facebook, when you set up a group, club is one of the designations that you can choose the group to be a part of. So I want it to be a club. Well, if you think about a club, right, when like I go out often, right, I quit drinking recently, and so I've been drink free for like 2 weeks. It's kind of cool, right? But when I go out to the club and drink now, club soda and lime, if you want to know my drink of choice. But now when I go out to the club, or at any time in the past, There's people at the door, they let some in, some not. If you don't look right, if you're not dressed right, if you're not acting right, if you're not put together, if you look too fucking high or too drunk, they're not going to let you in the club. And that's what I wanted to create, was that same atmosphere in Facebook. Like, this wasn't for everybody. This was a club for us. And I'll explain what I mean by us here in a few minutes. But see, the thing is, when you belong to the Sales Talk with Sales Pros club or the Sales Talk with Sales Pros group, you're a part of an elite club. You're a part of like a nightclub. You're a part of like a country club. I belong to both, a country club, and I go out to nightclubs often. And there's dress codes, there's behavior codes, there's a set of ethics, there's a set of rules. I set all of that stuff up inside of the Facebook group. So the first thing you notice when you join Sales Talk with Sales Pros is like, here is the rules of the group, and here's the definitions of our words, right? So like, we use a little slang, you know what I'm saying? We use a little slang, like some kangaroos, some Herald and HR, some kind of shit like that. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? A little bit. Sailboats, right? We have some, if you're in the group, you get what I'm talking about, but we have our own little language. Like I said, kangaroo, let's just take, for example, the kangaroo is a person that is like a tire kicker. You know, they're not going to buy nothing from you. Their hands, little kangaroo hands don't reach in their back pocket, right? But just long enough to put all this shit in their pouch that you got for free, right? That's why we call kangaroos. They don't buy anything. They bounce the fuck out of your life and never pay for anything. You don't make commission on kangaroos, right? And so that's like one of the things that we talk about in the group a lot. And it's like a joke, right? It's like our inside thing. It's like, this dude's a kangaroo, or she was a kangaroo prospect, or this lead is some kangaroo bullshit, right? Like, we have our own little club language, right? So like, when you belong to a club, you know, like the country club, for example, you know, they play golf there. So the language they use is like the golf language, you know? It's like, oh, I had a birdie on hole 9 today, or some shit, right? Whatever those fucking people do. I just go there to party. I used to just go there to drink. Now that I'm trying to damn it, now I'm thirsty. But anyway, so here's the thing. We created this club. In order to make the club atmosphere work well, I had to do the next step, which is the biggest part of the equation, which is create a culture. Okay, and so you might have heard Russell Brunson talk about this. That's because I've spent hours upon hours explaining all of this to him, to where he could model his ClickFunnels groups and stuff around that as well. And it's a big deal for me because I read the book 48 Laws of Power when I was locked up in prison. And that book changed my life from a perspective. It's like, I realized what was going on, but then I realized how you can use the principles in that book to gain influence, to gain authority. And as long as you don't use the shit for evil, obviously we're using it for good. We're helping folks like you make money over here. As long as you don't use the shit for evil, it's a very, very powerful book. Oh, hell, I guess if you use it for evil, it's powerful too. But what kind of an asshole wants to use that book for evil? But here's the thing. I realized that I had to create this culture. Now, one part of it, we'll just take the you're out of there and say that we had to create a cult, okay? And so if you look at books that are on Amazon, you can buy a bunch of them about creating a cult following. Some of them are business books. Some of them are documentaries about cult leaders, drinking the Kool-Aid. We say here all the time at Break Free Academy, if it's like you're not drinking the Kool-Aid, you're not going to make sales, you're not going to make it through the day. It's just not going to happen. You've got to drink the Kool-Aid. And that's, again, that's a cult reference. Now, listen, I'm not going to ask anybody to drink some Kool-Aid, you know, unless it's maybe got some mushrooms in it, and you're going to have like a spiritual journey. But other than that, no. In all seriousness, I'm not trying to create a cult in a bad way. Like, cults have been given a bad name because it's just like salespeople. Anytime you see a salesperson in the news, 9 times out of 10, ah, shit, what'd this guy do? Who'd he rip off, right? They don't lift the rest of us up that are out there changing lives, selling insurance, saving lives, saving families, doing mortgages for people, running real estate, coaching people. Like, they don't mention stuff about us. They always talk about the bad ones. It's the same with cults, right? And if you think about it, our whole society is built around cults. They'll call them tribes or whatever the case, but we had to create this cult. The first thing that you have to do in a cult, you have to have your own language, right? There has to be an insider language. We use kangaroo, I mentioned this earlier, Herald and HR. So if we have a sales cult and the cult members are people in sales, the way that you know somebody is an outsider, our language is, we call those people heralds, right? The people that work in engineering, the people that work in the accounting department, people that work in human resources, right? We call those people herald, right? That's like our name for them. And we call the members of the group savages, right? So we don't say, hey, you're a member of Sales Talk with Sales Pros, we say, oh, hey, you're one of the savages, right? So we gave them a specific title. So as soon as you join the group, it's automatically assumed that you're a savage, which, if you think about it, in the sales world is a great name for a salesperson because it's like some fly-ass shit. We started all that, by the way. Rihanna, DJ Khaled, Dr. Dre, all them using the word savage right now. 21 Savage, they all got that from us, man. They probably part of the group on the cool. If we looked in there, I ain't got time to go through like 70,000 people, but you know what I'm saying. They're probably in there. They probably just don't post or like or anything, but they definitely getting that vibe from us, right? That's our culture. And so anyway, you want to create that culture. Now listen, you don't have to take it to the extreme that I do, but listen, there's a reason why I have the biggest sales group on Facebook is because I've followed this blueprint to a T, and people love it. People are 100% indoctrinated into the culture, and they feel it, they get the vibe, because what? We've kept the atmosphere out, we've kept the club atmosphere, which means that we keep the spammers out, we keep the political rants out, we keep all the bullshit that you don't want to see when you go into a sales group, because I know this sales group, Sales Talk with Sales Pros, is the only place on Facebook that you can go into, as far as Facebook groups, that you can go into, and there's no advertisements. If someone goes and they scroll my 66,000 person Facebook group right now, there's not going to be any ads in that group. I'm sure Facebook at some point will run ads in there, but right now that shit's wide open. And so that allows me to be the advertiser in there. So we got this culture, and the culture is like me consistently building that culture up within them as their benevolent cult leader. We'll talk about that in a minute. The next thing I had to do was I had to create an us versus them, right? So like our group is better than the other groups because of what? Because A, we're a club and we have a culture that the other groups didn't have. Say the first thing that I decided when I joined this business period was I was going to be different. I had to create this us versus them. I said they are the guys, the sales trainers, the coaches, the corporate trainers that wear suits and ties, they go to church on Sunday, and they act like their shit doesn't stink and their life is so fucking perfect, right? I said, we are the actual salespeople on the front line that grew up poor, that didn't have shit, that most of us don't even own a suit in the first place because we're too busy working 90 hours a week to be able to go to the damn store to get a suit. And like, we are the people that are on the front lines doing this every day. So I said, we're not like them. Most salespeople I met in my lifetime don't dress up in suits and don't go to work or don't go to church on Sundays. Most of them are out there partying their ass off on Friday, spending all their money on the weekend, and then going right back and earning big-ass money again the following week, right? They're dressed casually, they're comfortably, they're dynamos, they're going in. And I'm not saying all salespeople fit that mold because there's not one size fits all, but I noticed that there was a lot less that looked like what you were supposed to look like. Like the sales trainers had this look that said, hey, this is what you're supposed to look like, but then the rest of the actual people on the front lines were saying, this is what we actually look like. And so I created this us versus them. It's like, hey, those, the fake sales trainers that suit and their shit doesn't stink, they go to church on Sunday, and then us, the people really dialing the phones, the people really making the sales, the people doing the videos, the people doing the work. Right? Like that was the difference between us versus them. So I created this culture. At first it was us versus Grant Cardone, right? Like he had come in there and he tried to spam some stuff. It was probably a social media manager. And so I used that opportunity because, hey, never let an opportunity cease. I knew that a guy like Grant's going to have a lot of people that watch him, and they're going to make a decision about him just like they do me. They're either going to like him or they're not going to like him. And I thought, well, the people that didn't like him, they still need a home somewhere. They still need somewhere to go. And we're going to catch some lukewarm people that could care less, and there's even going to be some people that like him and me. But in the meanwhile, I can use this opportunity as an us versus them to be able to build people that say, hey, you know what, I'm tired of Grant, right? I need something new, and we get to be that refreshing something new. The next thing was I said there was a group, I don't remember the other group's name at this point, we obliterated them, that was trying to come up against us saying that they were going to be the #1 group on Facebook, and they got to about 30,000 members, and they were giving us a run for our money, and then they just kind of petered out. You know what I mean? They just kind of went, well, fuck it, and just like they got it. They would say, I handed them a whole bucket, fuck it, and they decided to sit down on that bucket, and so they just gave up. So they stopped around 30,000 people. But here's the thing, like, and then it shifted from like us versus Cardone, which was like, you know, Cardone's like, I have nothing against the guy, but at the time, and still is, like, he's the epitome of sales trainer. Like, he's fancy, he's got his Rolls Royce, he's fucking got his private jet and his suit, and like none of us that are considered the savages, we don't really fit that, right? It was just a different lifestyle for us, so it worked well to be able to capitalize on that. No disrespect or any offense meant to Mr. Cardone, he's obviously done great in his life. The second thing, though, was there was another group that came against us, and I used this opportunity to shift the focus away from Cardone over to this group. It's like, hey, fuck the people in this group, it's us versus them. Well, guess what? A lot of their group ended up joining our shit, and leaving them, right? So then all of a sudden we went from them really racing to get to that 30,000, all of a sudden we hit 40, 50, 60, and they petered out. They just didn't make it. And it was all from creating that us versus them. Now, we're just the savages. We just running things and trying, we're just trying to be like America. We're just trying to calm motherfuckers down in smaller countries and shit and just keeping everything cool and political. We're not out there using the us versus them, but in the event that the group grows stagnant, I'll create another controversy to be able to keep that focus, because there's always going to be people looking to choose sides in a battle. And then also, the way that I've made money. So this is how I built the group, right? So this is the atmosphere of how I built the group. Now here's how I made money from it. I am the leader of the group, AKA the admin, right? But I created the group, I created the culture in the group, I created terminology in the group, I got the people and the influencers in the group to be able to build the business alongside of me. I've let the right people make the right posts and all that stuff. So I've been this benevolent leader. And so I have a blog, hardcorecloser.com. You're probably watching this on that site right now. If you're on YouTube watching this video, then head over to hardcorecloser.com. There's a ton of shit on that website. Fucking badass shit too, by the way. But check it out. It's on hardcorecloser.com. But on that site, I've written over 1,100 blog posts, articles, videos, podcasts, all that stuff's on that site. So every day I go into the group and benevolently, I leave links to my blog. It's like, hey, here's some insight on how to close sales like this. Here's some insight on how to get leads over here. Here's some insight on this, that. And every day, 2 or 3 times a day, I post links in there. And then in the comments, people ask questions about the content. People say, hey, this really helps me. And that gives me, and now really my sales team, an opportunity to go in on my posts and have a dialogue with that person. Well, if it really helped you, how did it help you? And would you like more help? Well, here's a way that you can join our mastermind where we can help you on an even better and more personal level. Right, we allow to walk through that conversation. I run every maybe 10th or 11th post, I'll run a promotion back there in the group. I'll say, hey, for this group members only, you get XYZ bonus. I don't like discounts, I like bonuses. So I'll say, hey, sign up for, let's say, Break Free Academy Entourage today and be a member of this group, and then we'll give you Show Up and Close as a bonus for free, which is our sales training program. So I'm consistently running bonuses like that. We just had an event with 300 people here in Dallas, Texas, and the large majority of that was to just posting in the group, right? No major, massive ads or marketing or anything else, just posting a few times in the group, saying, hey, if you'd like to join us for this meetup, it's $97. We'd love to have you there, and a lot of them showed up. So here's the thing about Facebook groups. If you haven't started one, you should. And you should definitely follow this, and then the way that you monetize is by engaging people and offering to help them. It's pretty damn simple. That's the easy part. The hard part is building the audience, the real audience, to get there, because you don't want fake profiles. You don't want your group to look like it's big, but really be full of a bunch of people that ain't gonna buy shit. Last thing that you want is a bunch of goddamn kangaroos in your group, man. We ain't got this, like, no kangaroos in the group. And so here's the thing. Create that club vibe, that culture, the us versus them. I'm telling you, the us versus them is the key. Most people don't talk about it. Most people keep it a secret. But if you look at Russell Brunson, let's talk about it again. It's the ClickFunnels Avengers versus the confusion soft bad guys, right? Like, he's creating that us versus them. He's following my blueprint to a T because I'm giving it to him, right? And there's several others out there as well that are following this to a T because they're watching me. Russell's the only person I've ever sat down and explained this to, and he's done a great job. He's passed my group up using his influence. And so I want to tell you today that if you haven't started a Facebook group, start it. Follow my 3 steps. And then obviously the monetization is the second phase. But you can also do this inside other people's groups, right? You could step in and create this club culture and everything else inside a group that already exists. And then if you hit up the admin of that group, they'll probably let you be an admin too, especially if it's a big group, because most people said, fuck it, I'm tired of dealing with this shit. And they end up not admin in the groups because, man, the spam can be overwhelming in there. It really can. We have 6,000 people that we blocked from Sales Talk with Sales Pros alone. If you think about it, it's a lot of people that we have blocked over the last 3 years. So with that being said, hey, start your Facebook group. Start prospecting your Facebook groups. They are gold mine. I got $500,000 at least in sales in the last 12 months from Facebook, where I didn't have to pay for it other than time and sweat equity. You could do the same. Share this with a person you know in sales. Share it with a person that you know should start a Facebook group, a coach, a consultant, or a public figure, or even just a regular salesperson that's trying to step up their social media marketing game. And I'll catch you next week on Whiteboard Wednesday.